Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to COINAHOLICS Autonomous. Today's coin is the 2004 Denver Lewis and Clark United States nickel. Okay, the 2004 Denver Lewis and Clark nickel. Now, Lewis and Clark were explorers. Now, in 1803, Thomas Jefferson bought 828,000 square miles of land from the French, which we know as the Louisiana Purchase. After that, it made the United States a much bigger country, which didn't sit well with a lot of citizens of the United States. And in response, Thomas Jefferson ordered the new lands explored all the way to the ocean. Now, William Clark and Meriwether Lewis, that was their names, were the two gentlemen who were tasked with, charting and mapping the new parts of the United States that were included in the Louisiana Purchase. Now, the government in the United States did things a certain way. But once Lewis and Clark were, out of their territory, so to speak, and in the vast wilderness of the areas that were being charted, they decided to give everyone equal say or vote in everything they did. Now, Sacagawea was Lewis and Clark's guide, and we all know her and of her, as well as she has her own coinage as well. She played a very important part of the exploration of the new territories. And even though she was a woman back then, where women were not thought of as highly as men, she was considered a leader of the team and given a lot of respect by the team. Now, one of the main goals of Thomas Jefferson doing this, he was looking for a passage route from east to west, and which is why he dispatched Lewis and Clark and the team. He wasn't happy when he found out there was no such route in the southern part of the United States. But he was happy because throughout their travels, Lewis and Clark collected a number of items and brought them back, many of which Thomas Jefferson actually used personally. Throughout Lewis and Clark's travels, they almost died on a few occasions because of the bad weather, the lack of food, and the indigenous native people that lived in the areas, they were not too happy to see Lewis and Clark and their team on and going through their land. And the only reason why the indigenous people did not wipe out Lewis and Clark was because of a woman. Her name was Wakawise. And the reason why she stood up for Lewis and Clark and their team was because she had been kidnapped by a rival native band and actually was saved by some white men, which is why she insisted that her tribe do no harm to Lewis and Clark. With all the dangers that they faced throughout their travels, they only lost one member of their team along the way. 3 months into their exploration, Sergeant Charles Floyd was the gentleman who actually perished on the journey. At this time, Sacagawea was only around 16 years old, and she was in love with a fur trader, which ultimately the two of them ended up conceiving a child together. She ended up giving birth in North Dakota after a long labor, and to, well, a very famous person, John the Baptiste. And after the travels had finished, Sacagawea left the baby with Clark, so her and the fur trader could go visit other native villages. Anyways, those are the facts, and we've kind of stretched them out a little bit. So, let us now go to the obverse of the coin. Okay, along the left-hand side, it says, "In God we trust." Along the right-hand side, it says, "Liberty." Below that, it says 2004, and below that, it says D, representing the Denver Mint. In the middle is the bust of Thomas Jefferson. Now, as you can see, this side of the coin is, well, almost perfect. The detail is just popping. It's incredibly sharp. There's very little in the way of dings on this coin, and the fields are actually really, really nice. Now, let us go to the reverse of the coin. Okay. Along the top, it says United States of America. Underneath that, E pluribus unum. Along the bottom, it says 5 cents. And above that, it says Lewis and Clark, with a boat above that, which is called a keel boat. And this type of boat was powered by men with long wooden poles, which they would push off the bottom of the rivers and streams that they were going through, and that's how they propelled the boat, with a sail. And if you look at the back near the top, it's a flag, most likely a flag of the United States of America. Okay, now let's get into the numbers. The 2004 Lewis and Clark nickel. It came with a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. This coin came with a plain or smooth edge. Its weight was 5.0 grams. Its metal makeup was 75% copper and 25% nickel. Its designers' names, there were 2 of them, Felix Schlag and Al Moletsky. They were the designers of the coin. And as you can see, it came with a pretty hefty mintage of 344,880,000 coins. And as far as I can see, there are no errors for this particular coin. This coin was minted out of Denver and out of the Philadelphia Mint as well. Now, presently, the highest grade for this coin is a Mint State 68. and there are 10 of them. And they're said to be worth $1,150. There is one that has been graded at a mint state 67 plus, and that's worth $225. And we'll stop at this one. There are 296 that have been graded at a mint state 67, which is said to be worth $100. Now, the greatest sale of this coin, it was in 2016 at the Heritage Auctions. It was a mint state 68, one of those 10 I was telling you about. And it went for $940. Even though they're worth $1,150 according to PCGS. Ah well, that's still pretty damn good for a relatively modern, well, quite modern actually, nickel. Anyways, that is all I have to say about the 2004 D Lewis and Clark nickel. If you haven't yet, I would appreciate you both liking and subscribing. Thank you very much. And next time's coin will be the 1973 low and high relief Canadian 25-cent piece. Now, the high relief is rare as hell. So, and as I say in all my videos, be safe, be smart, and enjoy your coin search. Goodbye.